Sorry for the delay for this week Android ADL Plus show. And my name is Tony Chan, and I am a developer advocate for Android. I'm based out of Hong Kong, and today I have Anirudh here joining us for the show. Anirudh.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Anirudh from Hyderabad. I know we are missing our regular anchor today. It's just going to be me and Tony today. So let us give you a brief introduction on the format of ADL Plus, which is presented to you by the APAC Android team here. So we're going to do a brief presentation on an interesting topic that we're going to pick daily every week, and then this will be followed up by the Q&A of the questions you've been asking us on the moderator.
So anyway, is the slide showing up fine?
Yes, it is. Thank you, Tony.
Great.
All right, so we'll kick off the presentation. So first, we've got news, and I'll let Tony present to you the news.
Okay, so we have a couple news this week, and the first one we didn't mention actually last week is Play Store is now having gift cards, and it's now available in the U.S. and hopefully we can make it more available in other countries. The other news on events, we have a GDG, Google Developer Group event tonight in Hong Kong, and coming up we have in New Delhi, we have an event coming up called G India. It's on the September 4th and 5th, and Anirudh and I will have a session, two sessions actually talking about Android on the 5th. Okay, so I'll pass it back to you, Anirudh, to do the presentation for today.
All right, so this week we're going to be talking about Monkey Runner. It's a tool that is present in the Android SDK tools folder. It's not related to the Monkey tool, which is used for stress UI testing. So Monkey Runner is a different thing. It's a tool that provides you an API, and we'll see how we can implement quality control in our application using Monkey Runner. So we'll move to the next slide. All right, so like I said, Monkey Runner provides an API for interfacing with devices. What this means is that you can connect to different devices or emulators available or attached to your system, and you can basically send commands and inputs, and we'll see in detail what we can do. So it uses Jython, which is an implementation of Python that uses Java programming language. So it's there are multiple options available to you as how you want to run your script. You can go through an interactive session, or you can actually write a complete script and run it through the tool that we provide. So also it's important to note that the code runs on a different device, that it's running on your workstation where you have the SDK, and while running on your machine, it controls the attached devices. So it's not actually running on the Android device. Next thing is, let's look at some of the capabilities of Monkey Runner. So like I said, first, it allows you to connect multiple devices, not just one. You can actually connect multiple devices. It can launch application and activities. It has APIs to help you do that, to send start activity and send broadcast events. You can also send touch events and keystrokes, which means you can provide input to your running applications. It's sort of a remote way to do that. Also, there is a API to help you take screenshots, so you can grab some images of your application running on the phone, and you can script the above operations in a sequence of commands. So you can just say do this and then sleep for some time, and then launch the activity, sleep again, and so you can write a complete script and run it. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. So since this session is dedicated on quality control capabilities, let's see what Monkey Runner can do. So basically, there are two ways you can perform testing on your applications using Monkey Runner. The first one is functional testing, and like I said, you can write a script. So it gives you a fully automated test procedure where you can perform an end-to-end test on your application. You can also execute use cases which are interactive with input events. The second thing it can allow you to do is do regression testing. So I mentioned that you can take screenshots from your application using Monkey Runner. So what you can do is once you have a good build and you've done functional testing with a good build, you can compare this with your daily build by taking screenshots and comparing the screenshots to see if your UI is working fine. So now we will look at some of the key APIs as in the code packages and modules available to you. So the first one is Monkey Runner. It's the most important module. It provides you static utilities to help you obtain a device or obtain an image or a connection. The second is the device. So once you actually have Monkey Runner giving you a device object, you can use the device object to represent, which actually represents the attached device emulator, and start interacting with that device. And the third one is Monkey Image. So this represents an image that you have grabbed from a device or an emulator using the Take Snapshot API. All right, so here's how you can launch the Monkey Runner interactive tool. We're now looking at how to write some code in Monkey Runner. So if you can see, this is present in your Android SDK tools folder. There's a tool called Monkey Runner. So this is, as soon as you launch this tool, you will see an interactive session, much like the Python shell. So this is where you can start, doing a kind of hacking your way through Monkey Runner or exploring different APIs. The other way is to write a script. So when you actually write a script, the procedure is the first thing you want to do is when you have a Monkey Runner script running, first thing you want to do is connect to a device, and this is generally done with one of the static utilities available in Monkey Runner, and this is wait for connection. So once you do a wait for connection, this API is a blocking call and will return you back a monkey device, which represents the device attached. So once you have a connection to a device, what you want to do is install your APK. Now, like I said, this is an end-to-end test procedure. So we're gonna do our build using our build system, and then we have an APK, and then we launch the Monkey Runner script to install the APK package onto the device. And like I said, you can have multiple devices and not just one device if you are testing different configurations. You can actually do this for multiple devices. So you do a call through install package onto the device, giving the path to your full APK, and this will help you install the package onto the device. And once you've installed the packages, what you want to do is probably launch your main activity, and the call that is available, the API here is start activity, and you pass the component, which is your which comprises of your package name and the main activity. So putting it all together, you can see how it goes. So this is a small script that's actually importing some of the modules that we talked about. There's a Monkey Runner, there's a Monkey device, and a time module to install to basically allow the device to sleep for some time, so that if you're installing the device and it's going to take like 5-10 seconds to install the APK onto the device, you want to do a sleep meanwhile before you execute the next command. So this is a module to help us with that. So as you can see, the first call there was Monkey Runner.wait for connection, and yeah, the three things that we discussed on how you want to begin testing. All right. So once you've installed the APK and you launch your main activity on Monkey Runner, what you want to do is in an automated way, you want to send some touch inputs or type text or send inputs. So this can be done using a touch API, and where you send in X and Y coordinate of where you want to generate the touch event and the type of touch. So for example, this can be a down and up. So this is a touch where you press down and up. And then there is a type text, which is basically used if you have an input field on the screen and you want to put in some text in an automated way. So as you can see, now we are executing our use cases on how we want to test our app using some of the Monkey Runner input APIs. All right, so now we begin. We've installed our APK onto the device. We've launched our main activity, and we've sent some input commands, and we're going through our screens. So at this point, for functional testing, what you want to do is take a snapshot. This is basically it's going to give you a screenshot of what's on your screen right now in your device or emulator, and as an image. And the object that's representing this is the monkey image, and you can write this to a file for if you want to do regression testing. If you want to see that if something's just changed between my last build and this, you can compare the images from take snapshot using this. So here's a tip. There's a very popular program, ImageMagick, and there has a compare utility. So you can run this program, and it can help you compare images and thus attain regression testing. So now we're going to look at the script altogether. So you see the complete script, and this is all available on Android developer website. So if you go there and look for tools and Monkey Runner, you're going to see a lot of APIs and links and documentation. So this is a script from the website, and as you can see, this just puts together what we've been doing. So we install a package, we run the main activity, and then we start the activity. We send a key code menu, which is just pressing the menu button onto the device, and then we take a snapshot on how our menu item looks on the screen, and then you just write the file to a disk. So a very simple script, something you can start with. Even if you don't want to run a script, what you can do is just, like I said, you can go to an interactive shell, and using the interactive shell, you can just start typing device.touch input here and there, figure out your buttons, figure out the X and Y positions, and then write a complete script that can be controlled. So, so these are what we discussed, ways of doing functional testing, which is executing your use cases remotely in a sort of automated way using scripts. But there's more to Monkey Runner than functional and regression testing. So you can also extend the API by writing your own plugins in Java language. There are some utilities like device.shell. It's a Monkey Runner device.shell, which can send ADB commands to your device. We can also use the standard Python subprocess and OS modules to launch external programs. Again, like you can launch ADB and send commands to ADB using the subprocess and OS modules. And again, there is also a Java API, which is available as monkeyrunner.jar, and this jar file is present in your tools lib folder of SDK, and it also has a program, a sample swing app, Java swing app that basically allows you to remote control your device using a screenshot grabbing utility. So it grabs a screenshot every 5 seconds, and you can click on somewhere on the screenshot, and it figures out the X and Y from the sample app, the swing app, and then it sends the same coordinates to generate a touch on the actual device using Java APIs. So that's another example you can look at. Yeah. So let me just summarize here. What we've discussed is using Monkey Runner tool as a way of performing quality control in an application, as a way of controlling multiple devices in a test environment where you can execute your test cases and end-to-end test cases, and you can also extend this API. So with this, we come to the end of Monkey Runner presentation. If you have questions about this, please feel free to ask us now if you're joining the Hangout, or you can post us questions on the next week's Google Moderator link for the ADL Plus show, and we will definitely answer your questions there. So with this, we'll move to this week's Q&A, and Tony, if you can start up with the Q&A.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Anirudh, for showing us the Monkey Runner. So we have quite a few questions this week, and so let's talk about some of these questions. So the first question is from Ivan. So there is a serious memory leak in MapView that causes crashes when you scroll map in one direction for some time with the link. It's not yet solved, and first batch submission was like 3 years ago. Is there any hope that this will be solved? So we understand the map view is kind of out of date, and we are aware of that, and we're working. Our engineering team is working to improve that. But at the moment, we don't have anything to share. Unfortunately, if we have anything we can announce, we will let you guys know as soon as possible. So the next question, Edward, can you take the next question?
Sure. So the question is, why can't Android app developers from India and China sell their apps on Google's App Market? I guess what you're referring to this is the Play Store. What are the alternatives available for such developers? Will this restriction be ever lifted? If so, when? All right. So I'll talk about India, and then later Tony can talk about China because he's more familiar with that market there. So what are the alternatives available to such developers? To begin with, I want to mention that as a developer, you can still register a developer account with Google Play, and you can upload your apps, and they have to be free apps for now, which is a restriction. But you can still use some of our ads offerings for revenue. That's one option, an alternative to for revenue. The other one is, I know some developers actually have bank accounts in different countries which are allowed for selling apps onto the Play Store, and you will have to probably consult your tax consultants and to figure out if that works. But I know some developers actually do that. The other alternative available to you is to find a partner in a country which actually has access to the Play Store to sell apps there, and enter into a partnership where you can be the developer and the partner can take care of the distribution needs of the application. So, Tony, if you have something.
Yeah. So for China, is kind of the similar issues like getting payment enabled in a country is involve a lot of policy and it's more than just technical issues. So again, like as Andy mentioned, we see a lot of developer, they have partnership or business partners in countries that we do support Google Wallet, and that's how they set up their developer account. And in China, that would be this in similar situation. So, yep. So the next question is, are there any restriction in Google Play preventing application being sold by charity to source donations? I have reviewed the Google Play terms of service and not found any obvious issues. So, so in general, what Steve mentioned is correct. So there is no policy on the Google Play side to prevent developer to create apps that source donation. That said, for Google Wallet does have certain policy in terms of like receiving payment for donation. And so you have to be a US 501c3 or 501c6 nonprofit organization, and there is a process in order to receive donation. You have to we have to verify you are a certified charity organization as you claim you. So I think in short, like you have to be a 501c3 or 6 organization. So the next questions are Anirudh?
Yeah, Tony. So the question is from Jay Dixon, Perth, Western Australia. I have 8+ years of Java dev, but I'm new to Android. I wrote this, and it's a link to a Spinner example. On the difficulty, I had mapping Spinner user to system values with Android. Did I miss something? So I did take a brief look at the link that you've shared and went through some of the code and notes, and it looks fine for what you're trying to do there. But yeah, and you also mentioned in your example that one way to do that is to actually use a system resource from strings.xml, use an array to map it to Spinner, which is what we see very commonly used, and you can use that. So I see what you're trying to do was attach some listeners so you can do some length checks and actually use system menu, which sounds which sounds okay to me. But yeah, it's very simple to use a spinner with an array from your strings.xml or from a data source, from a adapter from a data source. It's a pretty trivial code, and we have some examples on our developer.android.com website too. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thanks. And Steve, just back to your the donation question. So I just noticed you are from Melbourne. So so if you are interested in creating apps for international charity, that maybe I need to check with the Google Wallet team and see whether we allow that. So if you are interested to find out for non-profit organization outside of the U.S., send us a post in G+ or send me a post. We can follow up with you. So the next question I have here is from William. So how do I get a user identifier for an in-app billing transaction so that I can collate and manage transactions on my server? The identity just needs to be unique with my app, but needs to span multiple devices and no permission beyond Google Play. So I think William mentioned quite a few key points here. Just for general audience benefit, in Google Play we have two types of digital in-app purchase products. So one is we call unmanaged products, and another type is managed products. So for the managed products, Google Play server does actually manage the user to restore all the information if someone reinstalled a game and developer in the application call the recall transaction methods in the in-app billing API to retrieve all the previous purchase items. So that's done, taken care of in the API. But what William mentioned is those unmanaged items, which is not managed by Google. In that case, I think our general recommendation is not to create any. The unique identifier has to be something like we recommend using UUID. And we actually have an article. If you search Google search for, we talk about how to identify a user, and we specifically discourage user to use device ID or IMEI, things like that, or even the Android app ID, which is really OEM. Depends on the implementation of OEM. It may not be unique. So UUID is the recommendation. But I guess the key question is how to persist that UUID and how to retrieve that information when the user sign in to a new device. So something is coming up soon is what we call Google Play Service. And Google Play Service, we will have an implementation of OAuth 2 as well as the Google Plus API. And with OAuth 2, it will be very easy for developer to talk to a lot of the Google different APIs at Google. So one just idea is you can store the UUID for that particular user in Google Drive and using OAuth to authenticate, and then you can retrieve the ID and use that to connect back to your server, link the user to retrieve all the necessary unmanaged products information. So that's one idea we have here. Anything you want to add, Anirudh?
Yeah, I'm not really an expert there, so I think you've covered it well there.
Okay. Um, so anyway, why don't you take the other question, the next question?
Yes, the next question is from iDev Govind from Vizag. Hi, I am developing iPhone app. So here I integrated Google Plus, but here everywhere we need user ID. Please tell me how to get user ID. Thank you. Uh, so Govind, I'm sorry we don't have much expertise with iPhone here, so can't really ask your question here, and this is just targeted at Android developers. In terms of Google Plus, again, we are not really experts on Google Plus APIs, but you feel free to browse their website, and we do have some APIs there listed. Thank you.
So okay, I'll take the next question. Um, it's from Samir, and which is the best, cheapest Android tablet with call function? I guess that's really not a developer question, and probably you can ask your friends, and we don't have any recommendation here. Okay, so let's go to the next question, the last question for today. Does paid Google Translate API provide better quality than free online Google Translate? Um, Again, this is a developer question, but we are mainly focusing on Android here. But since anywhere, then we are kind of nice, so we do actually research and answer for you. So first of all, the Translate API is a paid API, so there is no free options there. And in terms of quality, I would suggest you to ask that question on the Google Translate API forum. So there is a forum, and probably you can. There is also a contact form to the pay to the pay support team, and you may want to ask the answer there. But high level, our guess is actually the API is 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 probably the same as the one provided on the Google Translate site. So, but check with the support team. All right, that seems like that's all we have for today. I guess like if there's anyway, is there anything you want to cover or?
Yeah, not really. So what we'll do is we'll share some links to resources for Monkey Runner in case you want to go through them. And thank you for joining us today. We don't have any live questions today, so I think that'll be it.
Okay. Thanks so much. Thank you. Bye bye. See you next week.